Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of our journey. This video is going to be a little bit different because I want to talk about the state of the game. I want to start off by saying that I love the game and I love the sport. I have been a huge fan since I was a young kid and I started following Manchester United because of Cristiano Ronaldo. So now that we have that out of the way, I want to talk about the state that we are in and how the gameplay has been ever since the last maintenance. Uh, First off, I would like to start off by saying that the gameplay was getting good on the previous update, but then after a week or so, it has gone back to the same ping pong pressure style that nobody can play and be creative about. It's just whoever can do the fastest ping pong seems to win the game, but I'll come to that later. Let's start with the gap between the pay to win players and the free to play players. The cards that Konami is releasing right now is beyond 99 now. When I was starting, it was just the maximum was 99 and 100 would be for a few elite players like Messi and Ronaldo. But now that the 99 rating has been ceiling has been broken, there's no sense of what the rating means anymore. Even if a player has, let's say, a 99 sprint and somebody has like 86, it doesn't matter because the game kind of sometimes treats it as the same speed and the players kind of match the speed, and sometimes they don't match the speed. Now I know that there are things like offensive awareness and defensive awareness that affect the speed and dribbling too, but I believe there's a lot of inconsistency in the gameplay, and it has been more prominent this season than last season and up to the season before. Why I want to make this video today is because of this season and why this has been the worst season I have played in all my time of playing. And keep in mind, I have been playing this since 2019, so I know about the PES mobile era and the eFootball mobile era. Um, Today, I will not. I just want to say that I will not be pushing beyond this match that I'm playing in the background for you guys. You'll probably notice some of the inconsistency in the gameplay and how the gameplay has been so toxic that there's absolutely nothing we can do. And it's same for my opponent and me as well. It's not just my opponent is getting better and I'm playing worse. It's just that it's the same for him too. Even the goals that I concede and the goals that I score, there's no fun in that. It's like a random, my center back cannot react in time, or my center back just stays there ball watching, and then his player kind of does the sliding tackle, just a little bit of from the leg, and then my player kind of just goes to the ground and then he scores like a very easy goal, which I don't think is fun for my opponent as well, and it wouldn't be fun for me to score in that way as well, but I have been scoring that way. And another thing is the new cards that are coming out now is so high rated and they are so inflated in stats that the free to play player cards, like even the season rewards, are barely able to match with their speed. For example, let's say if somebody, there's a lot of tactics like the over the top counter for Fabio Capello mainly, and we can just directly pass from the midfield as an orchestrator to the goal poster, striker, forward, right? But the issue is now, even if you get the ball, let's say somebody tries to do a direct pass over the top from midfield and you correctly intercept the ball, there's a high chance that someone like Eto or Romenige will get that ball from you even if you intercept it perfectly, because they have more stats that kind of give them the advantage. So it's not just that the 50-50 go towards the pay to win players now, but it's also that even if you get the ball, even if it's like 90-10, it will become 0-100 for you as a free to play player, because the cards are so overwhelmingly strong that the free to play players just cannot compete in the highest level. And even you guys have probably noticed from my videos before, I do not push beyond rank 1 because there's no fun in pushing beyond rank 1, because it just gets more stressful and more frustrating to play as I go higher and higher. And I play this game because I love the sport and I love the players that are in the game, so I try to emulate what players do in real life. And due to the gameplay going back to the way it was, where it's just everybody's just pressuring and there's no punishment for them, but if you pressure as a free to play player, the cards that your opponent has is so strong that they can just bypass the press and your player cannot even take the ball. And a new bug that has appeared is that there's no lunging from our players anymore. Even if the your defender is very close to the attacker, he will not take the ball because he's either weak in stat. I don't know what happened, how why the gameplay changed, but the gameplay has changed. And even if you are skin touching the ball, your player will not take the ball from the opponent because the opponent has an over inflated stat player, and you can do nothing about that. Secondly, I also want to talk about the nerf in player of the week cards that have been arriving since this season. Before, it used to be the cards that would be able to go to, let's say, Hornet 2. For example, I clearly remember the whole player Kevin De Bruyne from Belgium. He was a very good player, and he was a very good card that came out for the season. But now, even if, let's say, Konami releases the same type of player as today, the card will have less rating than it had before. I mean, I can see that the cards that used to come before and the cards that are coming now have lower stats than the cards that are coming before. So it's not just that the play to win cards are, or sorry, my bad, pay to win cards are getting over inflated in stats, but it's also that the free to play cards like player of the week are getting weaker and weaker in stats. So there's really a huge gap between play to win players and free to play players right now. But the useless free cards that Konami gives out, which is very good for a beginner player. Let's say if I was a new player and I just started today, these cards would make my squad, no doubt. But it's not only for the free to play player that just started the game, it's also that there's someone who plays for a long time. I mean, there are a lot of people in Reddit, we can see in the PS Mobile subreddit, that there are a lot of players that are free to play and they have been with the game for a long time now. And we are loyal to the game, not only because we love the game, but also because we love the sport and we follow football very closely. While we're in that topic, I also want to mention the degradation of premium packs. So, as you have probably seen by now, the premium pack that came for this World Cup and the premium pack that came, I think, in Euro or the World Cup, where the Griezmann and Messi were the featured players as big time, you can see the degradation in players. I mean, the Ronaldo that we have is pretty usable, but it's barely comparable with the players that they release now for the players who pay real money to get them, right? We cannot, I mean, if we get like 12 players from that pack, we can barely use one or two. For example, even the France pack, the Mbappe is probably very close to a player of the week Mbappe. I don't even have to look to tell you. The Mbappe is going to be the same as a player of the week Mbappe, and it's just nobody's going to go for a player, or I mean, we are going to spend 2000 coins on a pack that has completely useless player, or maybe one or two usable player for us, right? And that doesn't make sense. The other thing I want to point out is how with having weaker players, it's fine. Player to win players can have the advantage of having a strong cards and everything. And even if 50-50 becomes like 80-20 or 70-30, it's fine. But now 50-50 is an automatic loss for us as a free to play player because our players just cannot compete with the strong cards that they keep releasing. And the phase URs are good. Yes, the phase UR cards are good, but they are just good. They are not great. They are not amazing. They are just decent. They make the squad because they are a showtime and they are probably the highest rated player that you have in your squad. So they will make the squad, but they do not stand like toe to toe with the strong cards that they keep on releasing, right? Also, I want to talk about the skills, the premium skills like phenomenal pass, phenomenal shooting, and attacking surge, and the new skills shadow hunt and attacking surge. Oh my god, don't even get me started on that one. Phenomenal pass, phenomenal shooting, visionary pass. These pass make sense because they are not overpowered. They are just making the game more easier to play for someone who pays the money. But you can get beyond that skill by just having your player in the correct posture so that they can pass correctly, right? But let's say for someone who doesn't know a lot about football, they will just try to pass front while facing back, and that's where the skill comes in handy, I guess. And that makes perfectly sense because it's not an OP skill, it's not that overpowered. It's just it gives an edge to someone who pays the money, and that's okay. But the issue is now they are making a skill for everything that used to be an ordinary skill for a player, even a base player now. For example, tackling and interception, even sliding tackles, it used to be normal for everyone. Now if somebody has a skill that says they have like a long reach tackle skill, that means they have more interception ability. But if they don't have it, for example, a free to play player we just cannot intercept anything, even if the ball is very close to us. And that is where the game starts to widen the gap between play to win and play to win players. But it has gotten worse recently because the attack trigger and shadow hunt is a classic case of creating a problem and creating a solution and having the users pay for it, right? For example, when the shadow hunt came out, it was about defenders catching up with higher speed, and the attackers, with further attackers, it would be harder to kind of run away from them, right? So shadow hunt was a good skill for someone who pays money, right? So if you, let's say Samuel Eto'o is going running beyond your backline all the time, if someone has shadow hunt skill, that's probably gonna happen less. But now then they started giving out attacking surge, right? So attacking surge is, I don't know how to tell you, is just a counter for Shadowhunt. So they are just balancing what they created a problem for in the first place. So if everybody has an attack hunt, attack trigger, attack source, sorry, my bad, attack source and a Shadowhunt, then the game is back to where it was before. There was no point in introducing this skill at all. It's just to get money, and that's where the problem starts, right? And I also want to mention Blitzcaller. Even though there are many free-to-play players like Neymar with Blitzcaller, it has been becoming more and more inconsistent to the point where a normal shot or a normal call shot would go in, but because the player has a blitz call, it misses the shot, right? Even if it's a one-on-one, a normal call shot would just go in, but then if you hit a blitz call, if it's a player with a blitz call and you hit a call shot, there's a 50% chance that you will just miss the shot, and that doesn't make sense, right? Maybe they have to change blitz call in a way that it can only be done by outside of the box, so that it becomes inactivated or it becomes deactivated inside the box. I think that would be a good way to balance the call and kind of make it more consistent, so that it doesn't become more like a random number thing where if you get 50 then it scores, if you get 20 it doesn't get scored. So that's just my 2 cents on Blitzcar. Why I say this season is the worst is you can probably see in my gameplay too right now, if you have been watching from the front, that my opponent cannot do anything, I cannot do anything. It's just a pure slugfest of, pressure, and just random mindless passing. There's nothing that we can do as a player that allows us to be more creative, take the time on the ball and pass. No, there's nothing like that. It's just everybody keeps on pressing. And if you are a free-to-play player and your opponent is a free-to-win player, it's more likely that they are gonna press harder because their players are more stronger than yours. And you, even if you press as a free-to-play player, it's more likely you're not gonna get the ball because the player is so strong that your player just gets knocked off on the side. Although I just want to end with saying that I love the game and I'm giving props to the developers that they created a good game. The game is very nice in terms of graphics and in terms of the concept, and I'm glad there's an option for us to play, right? But I think it's because it's the only good game out there as a football game in mobile that I think Konami has become complacent, and I think we need a competition like UFL. I think UFL is coming in, or VFL. I might be wrong on the name. And I just want to stress this, that I hope they fix this issue, and this has been the issue for 4 to 5 years now, and it's just not something that just popped up recently. So I hope they can make the gameplay more consistent and more enjoyable, and not just a pressing fest where whoever presses and whoever does ping pong more wins the game. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.